You know, when we think of The Hobbit, we usually picture a classic adventure, right? A fun little quest for some treasure. But what if I told you there's a single chapter tucked away in the middle of the book that uses language so brilliantly it changes everything? Today we're diving deep into how J.R.R. Tolkien's word choices in one dark scene turn a simple adventure into this profound parable about how our words can shape our world, our morals, and even our destiny.
So how in the world does that happen? How does a cheerful children's story suddenly take a nosedive into the dark, cold territory of a psychological thriller? Well, the answer is all right there in the chapter, Riddles in the Dark. And believe me, it's a masterclass in the power of words to create pure terror, to reveal who someone really is, and to completely redefine what it means to be a hero.
The absolute power of this scene. It all starts with the setting. Like any good horror, it's all about location, location, location. Tolkien doesn't just toss Bilbo into some random cave. Oh no, he puts him in a place that's specifically engineered to strip away all his senses, one by one, until the only thing left, the only thing that feels real, is language itself.
So first thing he does, he takes away our sight. Bilbo is lost in the lightless roots of the mountain. We're not talking just dark, we're talking about a primal, absolute blackness. With nothing to see, your brain, and Bilbo's brain, has to rely completely on what it can hear and feel. And then the walls start closing in. The writing is all about tight tunnels, cold, wet rock, that feeling of the mountain's immense weight just pressing down on you. It's this perfectly crafted sense of claustrophobia, and you start to feel just as trapped as Bilbo does. And to top it all off, you're completely, utterly alone. Bilbo is cut off from his friends, from his world, from everything he knows. The result of taking away all his senses is huge. Sound and language become his entire reality. And that, right there, is the perfect stage for a truly terrifying meeting.
And then, into that total darkness and silence, something makes a sound. We meet our antagonist, Gollum, not by how he looks, but by the noise he makes. And this is just a genius move, a deliberate phonetic choice that basically turns sound into a weapon.
Just say that name out loud, Gollum. It's not really a name, is it? It's the sound itself. It's that horrible, wet, gulping noise from the back of his throat. So before we even know a single thing about this creature, before we see his big, pale eyes or his skinny frame, Tolkien makes our skin crawl with just 2 syllables. It's physical disgust, created by sound alone. And that Gollum sound he makes, it tells you everything you need to know about him. It sounds slimy, ancient, decayed. He's not just some monster in the darkness. He has literally been shaped and named by this dark, wet, underground world. His name is the sound of his own corrupted soul.
All right, so this is where we get to the heart of the chapter. This famous riddle game, it's not just for fun. It is a high-stakes linguistic battle. It's a duel fought entirely with words, where the prize isn't gold or glory, but survival itself. This is basically high-tension diplomacy happening in a predator's den. And right away, their riddles show you the 2 completely different worlds they come from. Bilbo's riddles are full of his world, the sun, daisies, the simple pleasure of tea time. It's the vocabulary of light and life. And Gollum? His world is the exact opposite. His riddles are about wind, darkness, and the heavy, crushing weight of time. Their choice of words reveals who they are, right down to their very souls. And yet, here's the wild part. This whole life-or-death struggle, it has rules. The formality of the riddle game is what makes it so incredibly tense. You have a predator and his prey, but they are both bound by these ancient, sacred laws of language. It hints at a world where your word is binding, almost magical, even for a creature as miserable as Gollum.
You can feel the tension building with every single word because of the slow, careful pace. Tolkien stretches out every question, every pause, until you can't take it anymore. This isn't a quick fight. It's a cold, hard negotiation where one slip of the tongue, just one wrong word, and it's all over for Bilbo.
Okay, now we got to talk about the object that's at the center of this scene, and really, the whole epic story, the One Ring. The way it's introduced here isn't some grand moment. It's through one single, obsessively repeated word that completely changes the moral gravity of the entire book. That hiss. My precious. Gollum says it over and over, and it's hypnotic, and it's deeply, deeply disturbing. The sheer intensity of it tells you immediately, this is not just some ordinary magic ring. That one word, repeated like a sick prayer, gives off this feeling of supernatural dread and a possessiveness that is just terrifying.
And just look at how that word gets twisted. Precious is supposed to be a term of endearment, something you say to someone you love. But from Gollum, it becomes a curse. It's not about affection anymore. It's a verbal tattoo, a marker for a hidden, corrupting, and all-consuming power.
So just when you think things can't get any more tense, the story makes this incredible pivot. It flips from being a thriller about escaping a monster to this deep, moral question. And guess what? This change happens, once again, because of a shift in the vocabulary.
Just watch what happens inside Bilbo's head. He starts out with a very practical mindset of a burglar. How do I get out of here alive? But then, in this crucial moment, his internal monologue completely changes. Suddenly, it's filled with words like pity, mercy, and empathy. This isn't just a change of plan. It's the novel's entire moral compass being reset. And here it is, the reason he stops. He has Gollum right where he wants him, a clear shot to kill him and escape. But he doesn't. Why? Because in that instant, he truly gets it. He understands the absolute misery of Gollum's life, these endless, empty days without any light or any hope. It's a moment of stunning, world-changing empathy.
And that's the real lesson here, isn't it? In a chapter that's all about spoken words, riddles, threats, hisses, the most powerful, the most heroic act of all is one of total silence. It's the unspoken internal language of pity. And that one act of mercy is the hinge on which the entire Lord of the Rings saga turns. Without it, the ring is never destroyed. Period.
So, let's just quickly recap the linguistic magic Tolkien pulled off here. He used phonetic naming to make us feel sick to our stomachs. He used metaphorical riddles to show us two completely different worlds colliding. He used obsessive repetition to create a sense of supernatural dread. And then, he used the quiet, internal language of pity to redefine what a hero even is.
When you step back, what Tolkien does here is just incredible. With nothing more than a handful of carefully chosen words, he builds a bridge from Bilbo's small, personal adventure to the massive, ancient tragedy of Middle-earth's long history. This single chapter, built of language alone, is what connects a simple children's story to a timeless myth.
Which kind of leaves us with one final thought to chew on. We've seen how spoken words can build worlds, reveal souls, and hold immense power. But Bilbo's greatest moment was an act of not doing something. It was the sword he chose not to bring down. So, if it's true that our words build our worlds, then what's the world-changing power of the word we choose not to say?